Welcome to another episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and friends. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time. This whole episode and this whole conversation was created by famous quotes, either created by myself or quotes that were brought in by my friends, um, and basically trying to figure out how it landed on us. And based on our interpretation and perception, we have conversations. We do a little roundtable. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, share stories and experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. And today we have with us, and whoever has the music in the background, I'm going to ask you to, if you can turn that down, it's a little bit of distraction. Naheem Garcia, all right? Actor, thespian, good humanitarian. Ife, that go-to guy, young brother, young poet, as we know it, young entrepreneur, game changer. And we have here, sitting back here right now, Miss Sherry Ben. I think it's Sherry Benjamin. She has brought us a quote.
Sherry Ben. It's Sherry Ben, yes.
Okay, Sherry Ben. I just want to make sure, because I was going to say Sherry B, but I know I don't want my listeners to say, oh, Kev had Carly B on there. No, we got Sherry B. We got Sherry B. She's a rising star. And she brought us a quote.
Sherry Ben. Sherry Ben.
There you go, Sherry Ben. She brought us a quote. And I'm going to tell you, for those of you that have just tuned in, and this is the first time listening to the podcast, this lady is dynamic. I can't begin. She's got capital letters, all uppercase when you say dynamic. And when you see her and meet her, wow. You think a rose is beautiful? A rose has to bow down to this young lady. She brought us a quote today. As we are liberated from our fears, our presence will automatically liberate others. And we're going to talk to Sherry and see how this landed on her and see our interpretation and perspective on this. And then we're going to pass the horn around. All right, Miss Sherry, the show is yours.
Grand Rising, I appreciate that. I do want to, one thing for me as far as the quote is concerned, whenever I think about that quote, it actually helps me step into my own power. And that's one thing that I love about it, because stepping into your power and understanding that fear is false evidence appearing to be real. However, when you have fear, I feel like it also opens up a portal for you to actually bring your best self. Because if you don't have fear, maybe you just don't, maybe if you don't have a little, maybe it's just not for you all the way. I think everyone, even when I worked at the Speakers Bureau, Maya Angelou said that she had fear every time she gets on the stage. Dr. Maya Angelou has fear every single time before she gets on stage. So I feel as though, although that's present, it's always so important that you push yourself, so that way you are able to show other people that I can do it, so you can do it too. And that's one thing, as I step into my own personal power and I do those things, and I see that when I'm stepping in my power and I help people, whether it's for accounting or oracle readings or travel, when I'm helping people and they're like, oh my gosh, if you can do it, I know I can do it too. And that's why I love that particular quote, from that particular snippet from Marianne's poem.
All right. And everyone has their own interpretation. And that's the reason why looking at these quotes and throwing it out into a room to see what comes back, we're all motivated by words. Words either build us or they destroy us. And sometimes when great people put things out there, they stand as an example to what is possible for us. And so I'm going to throw the quote back out there to Brother Ife, that go-to guy. And thank you, Sherry Ben, for bringing that quote. And as always, so dynamic. We appreciate you. This should be the year of the woman in my book, because you guys are so dynamic creatures, and you guys are doing so many powerful things, so many wonderful things. And I'm going to say to the young men that has a woman present in their life, their niece, daughters, mothers, grandparents, hold that person up and allow her to shine. Protect her. Do not disrespect her. Honor her for the queen that she is, and bow down and allow you to be that king that you are. All right, Ife, that go-to guy. Let's talk about as
And
we are.
that's a powerful quote, Kevin. I'm just here letting that quote marinate with me, and I just want to read it one more time so that we can get the impact again. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. First and foremost, I must thank Sherry for even bringing that quote. And we are a collection of game changers and people that think beyond the surface level. So when I hear this quote, at first I apply it to myself. How does this quote land on me? And I've just thought about my journey through social media, especially using a social media app called Clubhouse. There are times I get into Clubhouse rooms. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not even sure how I'll be received. Like a student in a class, I raise my hand, hoping to get to the stage, and just without interrupting the flow of the conversation or the flow of the stage, just wait for my time to have a share. And that's powerful to me because at times I have fear going into certain rooms. Like, will people not understand where I'm coming from? Will people attack me? Will I say something that offends somebody to the point where they report me, or people just have a agenda against me and get me off the app? But more times than not, I've just been able to speak my truth. And I'll say it again because it's one of my favorite scriptures now. There's more happiness in giving than receiving. I get on these stages, I don't rehearse what I'm going to say. I'm very articulate, but what I say comes from my spirit and from my heart. And that's not just me giving kudos to myself. That's me knowing that my reflection in the universe is one of energy, intentionality, purpose, and grace. And we don't understand what people are going through on a daily basis. I don't want to tear people down. I want to build them up. I want to build, not destroy. But if I do destroy anything, I want it to be ignorance, hate, bigotry, and people feeling that they're better than other people because they have certain factors working in their favor. At the end of the day, we're all human, and we free ourselves when we allow ourselves to understand that people have varying ideas and opinions, different life experiences. But we as the human race can come together and respect each other, talk about it, and become better because we have had that conversation. And now, even if somebody disagrees with us, we can still call them our sister and brother and move towards a bigger purpose. And that purpose is for us to all to coexist in the world in a sense of freedom, justice, and love.
Okay, I'm going to let that marinate a little bit because that's coming from the youth, our future, that go-to guy, Ife. When he talks about words that either build or destroy, just think about how powerful that is. That's something, if you're driving and you're listening to that, pull over and think about what this young brother said. And it's uniting people through a conversation that molds and helps other people. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Naheem. And
Peace. I'm sorry, go right ahead.
No, go ahead, fire away. Take the quote.
No, this quote has a double edge, and I'm gonna play off of both Ife and Sherry because they both hit some real good points. You know, they planted fear in us when we were little, when we were babies. So as we grew older, they were able to control us. You know, and that's something that continues to happen. The other piece is fear is always a good motivation to bring your A game, because right before I get ready to perform or be on stage or be behind a camera, that's that urge of fear and nervousness. Am I going to do it? But that should also be your guiding light to bring you to a place to motivate and bring your A game. It also, this quote, as we are liberated from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others, that we lead through example. Leading through example is the most important part. And as long as we remove that fear that we can't and put that fear that I'm nervous, but here I go, you are definitely going to conquer many things. And example, people see you, people follow. You know, people see you, people follow. And this is something that should also go out to these artists that have a lot of influence in the world. Black artists that have a lot of influence in the world. It is important that you start leading through example and start really being a little more original. We are getting so far off into something else, man, that it gets beyond. I'm looking at some of these brothers and sisters that are looking like characters and not people. And that sort of fear is what's conquering us. I looked at the brother that was accused of rioting people and at the rap, I can't remember his name, but I'm looking at him, he's no longer looking like an original man, he's looking like a character that they can use and to conquer people, that they could put fear in, because if something happens to him, we're worried instead of worrying about ourselves. So yes, this quote has many things, but it goes back to what Sherry said. When you get nervous, that should be your guiding light. That should give you the power to be able to bring your A game. But at the same time, remember that fear is what they planted in us when we were children, we were babies. So as we grew older, they were able to control us. And that is important to know too. So I say this quote sums up: lead by example. Lead by example. Remove all doubt and lead by example. Kill the dream stealers. Destroy them.
I think there's a book with those characters in it. I'm going
Yes,
to
it is.
every single Sunday. I am motivated by motivators. You know, Sherry B, new to the family, bringing a very powerful quote and a conversation that needs to be had in the present day, not something that's part of our history. It needs to be present. And I thank you for bringing that. The youth of our America, that go-to guy, when he talks about the power of the words, where they can build and destroy. Talking about someone that basically stands in fear's way every single day when he gets a copy of a script for a movie, and there's 17 people that look like him, sound like him, act like him, reading the same copy. And no one knows that at the end of the day, if his rent's going to be paid, if his girl, still going to be there with him, is that child going to be able to eat at school? Because if he doesn't get that gig, life remains. And when I listen to her, Sherry's interpretation of what fear, and she breaks it down, I have the same type of quote, but I say feelings of events appearing to be real. And the reason why we have that, because I take it from being an athlete, knowing what it comes out at the tunnel, anticipating what's going to happen next. The same way when I step up and I produce a podcast and I bring in a guest, have no idea. But the thing is, as much as a warrior fears the outcome, he still goes out in a battle. And that's when your presence automatically liberates other people. When they see you putting in the work, see the sacrifices you have to make, seeing the impact you have on other people, I'm going to tell you what fear really is. Fear is being the example of what everyone is refusing to face. That's what fear is. And with that, we're going to end this podcast strong as always. Sherry, you want to leave our listeners with a little something to take away from this podcast?
Absolutely. I would like to say, although, we have been programmed to believe whatever we have been programmed to believe, it is our right to make sure that we stand in our truths no matter what. It is our birthright to stand in our truths no matter what. And going through the process, going through this thing we call life, is the process of actually becoming whoever we were destined to become in this lifetime. And it's okay if you struggle, if you fumble, if you fall, because you fall down once and you get up 10 times if you need to. And that's what we have to do, no matter what. That's what I have to say. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, young queen. Thank you. And I bow to your greatness. Thank you. I am humbled by your presence. Go-to guy. You're going to leave us with a little something.
I just want to say that this conversation this morning has been amazing. I want to give people a little perspective. I know a lot of people saw the movie Black Panther. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. A lot of people have heard me in Clubhouse rooms saying that I'm the new Black Panther, and it's not to take away from him, but to continue his legacy, because he is from upstate South Carolina, and I am currently in Columbia, South Carolina. And just a little fact check right here. The young lady that actually played Chadwick's wife in the Jackie Robinson movie 42, she also comes from Orangeburg, South Carolina, and graduated from Orangeburg Wilkinson, class of 2002. So for anyone that hears this, just Google that and you'll find her. I like to give people an assignment instead of telling them everything. But with that being said, I say that I'm the new Black Panther because one of the underlying themes in the Black Panther movie was how T'Challa moved as a king, but it was his queens that protected him and gave him guidance. And when you allow yourself to be guided by queens, not just any type of queens, but queens that have a purpose, move with intentionality and grace, you can still be a king over your kingdom, but now you have a peace, you have a focus, you have a direction that is untapped. Tap into that divine feminine energy, tap into that divine masculine energy, and just understand that fear just means that you're alive. But what are you going to do? Are you going to shrink? Are you going to be quiet and silent? Or are you going to speak up and spark that change or that paradigm shift that you know that you have to make as your contribution to the world? So I love the quote. Sherry, thank you so much. People will either keep you in your comfort zone, which sometimes can be complacency, or they're going to push you out of your comfort zone so that you can realize the greatness that is within you. Anybody that hears my voice, Kevin's, Naeem's, or Sherry's, understand this. You could have chose any other program to consume, but you chose this one. Thank you. You're one step closer to becoming the person that you really are.
Wow. I ain't got no words for that, but thank you.
Right on. I know.
That was powerful. I'm over here clapping.
Yeah, I see. Well, what I have to say, and I'll leave you with this: don't be afraid to love, and don't be afraid to love yourself and love your brothers and your sister, even that ignorant individual that's running around doing wrong. Love, because love is a great degree of understanding, which is drawn up by what we know and what we see and how we understand it. So love each other. I find a lot of love in this group. This is why I'm consistently involved and joining every Sunday. And it's important to share this kind of love. And if this love that we are sharing can conquer all fears, then spread the love.
Right on, right on, right on. And so I'm going to make this short and sweet. How do you overcome hate? Is love harder. How do you overcome fear? Is love what you're doing and fall in love with what you're doing. How do you overcome a negative mindset? Remember this original quote by Kevin McLemore: free your mind, your ass will follow. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming into this space. I hope that if you're following us on our YouTube page, RMK Productions and Network, that you would listen, that you would share, you would invite people in. This is a live podcast. Everyone's welcome as long as you're bringing in something that's building, not destroying. Remember, education is not designed to make you comfortable. It's designed to make you think. As my grandfather says, when you get to a point that you can help someone else, it's your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one, and I'll fade to black. Thank you.